was Gavaskar, the real master. Just like a wall, we couldn't know Gavaskar at all. Not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't know Gavaskar at all.
Which one is yours, bro?
I, I think anyone that ends with the Dil Dil Pakistan, that is that's my ex favorite excuse.
So the hotel staff did not listen to Dil Dil Pakistan.
Chale. Yeah, that's fine. That's a good enough excuse.
The umpire ignored the 1992 World Cup story.
Umpire ignored Dil Dil Pakistan. Clear
Umpire
proof of
ignored
B
Dil Dil Pakistan. Okay.
clear clear proof clear proof of BCCI bias. This
The
is this is why
me
also this is
no no
why
no.
this is why Tabrez Shamsi wasn't given out because the umpire ignored
Um,
Dil Pakistan.
by the way, did you hear the rant that those guys went on?
That rant was epic.
Which one was funnier? The one where they asked for Umar Akmal or the one where they just went off on a rant about Rizwan?
I think the one that where they asked for Umar Akmal just because of the absurdity of thinking that Umar Akmal is gonna save this squad.
Umar Akmal is like a relic from 2010. Anyway, welcome to the No Balls Cricket Podcast. This is I can't even. Hi, I am Siddhant Pradhan. That is Aditya Devrat. This is episode 40. Oh shit, we've hit 40.
Yeah, we somehow managed to get to 40.
We somehow managed to get to 40. Lots to
This is a
cover.
statement we'll be saying again in about 7, 8 years for our lives also. But yeah.
What, that we hit 50 episodes? We're
No,
definitely.
I mean no. I mean literally hitting 40 in our lives.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The sentiment is going to be exactly the same. We somehow got there.
Fuck off, bro. Stop telling everybody that we're old. Anyway, um, on our episode today, who do we want to laugh at more? Pakistan, England, or Bangladesh?
I think for me, England's always the highest. Like laughing at a country, I think, especially in cricketing and sporting terms, I will pick England over everyone.
Okay, fine. On that very happy note, let's swing into the roundup.
The roundup, the big point of the roundup is that England suck. Um, I'm trying to say, who have they played since we last did the roundup? They obviously lost to India. They
That's the only
lost
game they've
to
played.
yeah. Before that, they'd already lost to Afghanistan and South Africa and basically they've just been getting embarrassed by everyone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
So, I mean, nothing can top embarrassment more than the way Ben Stokes was completely shattered by Shami, but we'll get into that in a bit. These are the results that have happened since we last recorded, which was the night that Afghanistan beat Pakistan.
yeah.
Um,
South Africa smashed Bangladesh the next day, which is not surprising.
Not surprising.
Australia
The
smashed Netherlands, which is slightly disappointing, but also not surprising.
Not surprising. The day after that, Pakistan and South Africa played the first close game of the tournament, and somehow, despite the
South Africa.
whole, oh my God, fast bowlers are going to do the whole Pakistan comeback choke thing, South Africa somehow managed to win that game because Keshav Maharaj is an absolute fucking legend, and he will fuck Babar
No,
Azam
but
till the cows come
they
home.
won they won that game because the umpire slash the BCCI slash something DRS or those are the reasons.
Fine, that was that. Australia, New Zealand, then the next day played one of the craziest games of the tournament.
Jimmy Neesham getting some bad deja vu at the end.
Wow, Jimmy Neesham and deja vu, bro. Oh my God. Yeah, kids, just remember, don't take up sport. Pick up baking or something. Die fat and happy. Um, you know, the words never ring more true. That was game one on Saturday. Then game two on Saturday was the Netherlands basically destroying Bangladesh.
Yeah, that was shocking even by Bangladesh standards.
Yeah, and then yesterday was England absolutely getting owned by India. It wasn't even close. On a spicy wicket with a lot happening. They got owned. It didn't last very long. It was an embarrassment. And as Mike Atherton kept repeatedly saying, run rate isn't the issue. It's the wickets column. Um, which is
We said
which.
this after the we said this after the South Africa game as well, when they were at 70 for 6 after 12 overs and South Africa had been 70 for 1. Yeah, one of
Yeah,
those columns is not the same.
one of those columns is not the same. And then today, out of all the random things happen, although kind of expected considering the amount of injury issues Sri Lanka have had with their bowling, Afghanistan again cruising to another win. So that's a very
Yeah.
impressive tournament for them. We will get into that first, but that's the roundup for today. Let's move in now to
We
the main
missed
segment,
we
rest of the
missed
World
one
Cup.
we missed one game there in the middle, but
Oh, sorry.
England before losing to India also lost to Sri Lanka, which again was
Yes,
I think
sorry. I
by
don't know.
current standards it's a surprising result, or not a surprising result, but I think going in no one expected that.
Nobody expected that, but having said that, England have not beaten Sri Lanka in a World Cup since 1999.
Yeah, this is true.
That's
And
a
inform England lost
24-year.
to Sri Lanka last.
Sri Lanka have a 24-year win streak on them, so I'm not surprised by that. Anyway, right, let's get into the main bit of the episode. We're going to cover all of this, plus we're going to shit on some people.
Do we have anything to cover that isn't shitting on some people? I need to figure that out.
I mean, unless you want to talk about the BCCI, no.
That's also shitting on them. So like we'd either be shitting on England or shitting on Pakistan or shitting on the BCCI. I think our options are limited here.
So, okay, let's do it this way. Let's start from the bottom and then go to the top.
I won't sing Drake, never mind.
But you know the funny bit is, if I ever wanted to start at the bottom, I didn't ever think it would be England.
I mean, yeah, pre-tournament favorites, right? Everyone was like, India have home advantage. England are probably the better team, so they're still the likelier one to win. Now they barely won one game. And was somehow, just for the miracle of Afghanistan qualifying for the semis, was somehow hoping that England can get it together to beat Australia once.
Listen, at this point, I don't think England could beat Iceland, let alone Australia. They're that bad. But okay, they were trash yesterday. And they were even more trash against Sri Lanka.
The batting has just gone to pieces. I mean, like, all right, South Africa was a discombobulation where like everything went to pieces. The bowling obviously just wilted in that Bombay humidity and heat. But like, they just are like, how do you get bowled out for whatever it was, 245 or whatever against Sri Lanka? Like,
What do you mean two? Hello, what do you mean 245?
Sorry,
It was
156.
156.
Sorry.
Thank you. Excuse me.
How do you,
So
they
okay, let's
did
put
the
it.
thing, right? They're like, okay, yeah, everyone has noticed. So now even we are finally noticing after the entire world has told us that we're no longer that good at chasing. So let's win the toss and bat. And then they get bowled out for 156.
On possibly the flattest pitch in this entire tournament, barring Wankhede.
Yeah, in Bangalore, of all places.
It's like they channel the spirit of RCB. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I could not.
We just cost them, basically.
But you know the best English meme? Hang on. The absolute best English meme.
Go on.
Where is it? There we are. So, the England started with the Barmy Army put up a tweet, right? of Kohli as a duck, and
Yeah.
then
Well, they got very excited once Kohli got out for that.
yeah, they got very excited once Kohli got out. But then I just want to show you guys what happened afterwards. Pretty much that. Like, I mean,
No.
oh Lord. The funny bit was, out of that entire thing, I mean, come on, this is a work of art, bro. This should be posted in like the Lord's Museum or something. Um, Man, they were fucking terrible yesterday. It was so bad. And the funny bit is, I think nothing sums it up better than that Stokes dismissal. Where, bear in mind, Mohammad Shami he got out for none of 10.
And Shami just walked him over. Like, given it was
Shami,
10 balls from hell.
it was 10 balls from hell, and then one of the dumbest shots I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, because of what Shami had done prior to that. But it's also the dumbest shot, one of the dumbest shots, yes, but that's like, this is like they're trying to baseball everything. So they have to baseball their way out of a crisis, which is
It's not, bro. I've been saying this the entire week. It's not baseball. It's Baz bollocks. I've been
I just
waiting
hope
to say that
I just
for a
hope these
long,
players
long
are
time.
I just hope they're so traumatized by this that the next time they're in India, which is 3 months later, they also just get completely destroyed in the test series.
They probably will. Now, I've said this about England for a long, long time. Their ODI setup, as good as it was, is not geared to play on wickets that do a bit. They're basically flat wicket guys. In this
Well,
tournament, however,
here's the thing. The last World Cup in 2019, like the World Cup pitches weren't flat. They all and of course
no,
it was in
no,
England, so there was
no,
enough
but
seam and seas to move.
I know. But bear in mind this. Remember this. The game that they lost to Sri Lanka, which is the one that turned their tournament around, was played on the last moving wicket. The game after that was against India at Edgbaston on a featherman.
Correct, but they also won on like okay, not spicy wickets, not like red soil turning or whatever, but they weren't consistently just hitting 400 and bashing people out for 150. They were in.
No, no. But the point I'm trying to make is even in the last World Cup, the games they lost were on wickets that did a bit. And it's been an Achilles heel of theirs for a while, which nobody seems to have seen. But or rather they chose to ignore. I wouldn't say nobody's seen it. I think everyone's seen it. I think they chose to ignore it. And the only close game they had on a moving wicket where they were actually in like actually competing turned out to be the final.
Right. But my point is, I think, look, when there's some spikes in wickets, everyone's going to struggle a little bit, right? Like, I mean, on that same wicket, like
No, I
India's
agree.
batting struggle. He didn't struggle, and I'm talking about the India-England game now, not the 2019 World Cup. But yeah, that was a wicket where India should have easily, even with the movement, should have gotten to like 270, 280, and they ended up getting to 229 inside. So it's not an England failure. It's just a truism about cricket that when there's that batting will struggle when the pitch is better.
No, I agree. But despite all of that, and you're saying India got to a below par score, I thought 230 was a below par score. I thought England should have chased that down, hands down. The point we're trying to get at here is they were so bad, they lost by 100 runs.
And I told you halfway through, I said I think India are winning this. But I think I think what's really happened, it's not, I don't think it's, England are struggling with the conditions or moving pitches or whatever. I think England just aren't a good team right now. And they've, whether it's just severe bad luck of all their key players being in bad form at the same time, whether it's Root, Bairstow, Stokes, Butler. I mean, Butler was a huge part of why they won the 2019 World Cup, and he has 150 this tournament. Stokes missed a couple of matches, and then even once he's come back, has not really done anything. Root hasn't done anything. Malan has won. I think Malan's the only one to hit a century for them so far, and
That was against
that was just
Bangladesh.
And yeah, exactly. That was against Bangladesh, and that was one innings. Other than that, yeah, like that whole top six, which is what you rely on, is just not performing at the same time. And I think any team's going to struggle. They're just and now the other problem is they haven't diagnosed why they're struggling. Like, why is it just that okay, we're trying to.
Actually, on that note, not diagnosed why they're struggling. Owen Morgan had something very interesting to say. He said that, look, this is a team that's won 2 World Cups in 2 separate formats. It's rare for this to keep happening over and over again, repeatedly for a team that's been proven to be good, which they have. Let's be honest, they have. But he said there's something else going on in there. They can't keep failing like this over and over again. Something else is going on.
Well, Morgan was insinuating that there's the squad isn't together or something, which I would be really surprised with because this is the same a good chunk of the squad plays together in the tests. There's no reason for the squad to not be for there to be a rift or something. Something might be going on behind the scenes, but I think it's just maybe they're just shattered by the amount of cricket they played, and at the same time with the lack of ODI and list A cricket that they've played, which we touched on last time. Maybe they just it's good. There's no answer here because it's inexplicable.
Yeah, basically the whole point is what the fuck was that?
Yeah, exactly.
And we've just looked at England and been like, what the fuck was that? And that has happened from the first game of the tournament against New Zealand throughout, basically.
Yeah. They're getting out. They're an attacking team that's getting out to defensive shots. Then they hear about the fact that they're getting out to defensive shots, so now they're getting out to attacking shots. Like there's no method to the madness here.
No, not at all. And I mean, nothing can sum it up more than Joru's dismissal. Forget Stokes. Joru, first ball, tries to sort of walk across his crease to a one that walks in from Bumrah, swings in from Bumrah, gets pinned on the crease, and then decides to review it. And everybody and their blind dog would tell you that was hitting the middle.
Yeah, I mean, all right. To give credit to the Indian bowlers as well. I mean, Shami and Bumrah bowl like a dream.
Listen, I thought the Indian bowlers were fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but they've been fantastic throughout the tournament. I mean, look what they did to Pakistan on a way flatter wicket. I mean, that's not the point we're trying to get at.
I think the problem is England just haven't figured out any sort of strategy here. Like again, when you're 230 is an easy chase. I mean, you can struggle a little bit, but overall for a batting line of that quality, it's an easy chase. So just figure out, and once you're hitting quality bowling, once you're facing quality bowling, just figure out how to survive for a bit, and weather out the storm, and then chase down 240 overs if you have to. That's still not hard for you. There's just I just don't think they're planning their games at all. Like, I mean, how do you get bowled out for 156 by Sri Lanka? Sri Lanka's bowling attack, which, I know I said last time that, hey, the injuries might actually be a blessing in disguise because I think their bowling attack at that time was better than what it had been in the earlier stages of the tournament. But 156? Are you serious? Like, you can't get on a Bangalore pitch that was doing a little bit, sure, but you can't get a 250 on that.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. Any excuse that England have is now basically moot, and now we have decided that we are going to end this conversation about England by calling them Baz bollocks. That's it. Baz bollocks.
I have one request of the England team: just somehow beat Australia so that we can, just for the miracle story of Afghanistan making this.
Afghanistan reaches the semi-final. We'll get to Afghanistan in a second, but first I want to go across the next team that has been absolutely trash in this tournament. I know it isn't Pakistan.
I know which one I knew you weren't saying Pakistan, and I know which one you were going to say.
Of course, but
I'll let you take it away.
Okay. On that note, we are going to talk about Bangladesh because they have been absolutely awful, and nothing embodies them more than that defeat to the Netherlands. But there was an article that popped up from cricket.com. I'm just going to read out one absolutely shocking stat that came up from them. Hang on, just give me a minute to find it. Look, this is a stat that came up, and it's quite appalling. But just have a look at this for a second. This is the what we would call the non-boundary strike rate. And bear in mind that Bangladesh's boundary balls here are only 10.4%. So if you're not hitting a boundary, so your strike rate should be, I would say, between 50 and 60 to have some sort of idea, right?
Yeah, just for like
Just yeah,
reference sense, it's like if you hit a boundary every 10 balls, the other 9 balls you're getting like 5 or 6 runs, basically.
5 or 6 runs, right? Now, your boundary ball percentage is 10.41, which is the lowest outside of the Netherlands, right? That's against pace, and against spin it's 46, whereas the Netherlands have a much higher non-boundary strike rate, but they have a higher boundary percentage. This is against spin. This is something that Bangladesh is supposed to be good at playing. Bear in mind, right? Um, you look at everybody else; they're a lot higher, a lot higher. But that is appalling. 41 as a non-boundary strike rate. Wow, it epitomizes their struggle so much.
And the point you touched on it, the point of that article was just that, Bangladesh cricket, especially, their home games are so spin friendly, and that's their formula, which, as on its own, I don't really have a problem with. But it's like, if you are so heavy on, all right, our spinners are going to win us the game, in our conditions, it's like, it makes no sense that the reverse doesn't work. That, okay, we are good at playing spin. That, like, they seem to be as bad at playing spin as all their opponents are.
Yeah. First of all, before I go on, shout out to two people, Sumesh Agarwal for writing that article. That's on cricket.com. And secondly, Gurkirat Singh Gill for pointing this out on Twitter. So on X or Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it. But yeah.
Formerly known as Twitter.
Formerly known as Twitter. But yeah, thanks to both of those guys. I wouldn't have found it otherwise. And yeah, I mean,
really, you wouldn't have just searching for reasons to shit on Bangladesh?
I don't need to find reasons to shit on Bangladesh. They pre-exist.
Okay, sorry. Let me rephrase. You wouldn't have been searching for like evidence to back up or to enhance the way you can shit on Bangladesh?
No, it fell into my lap. Why would I want to do that? Look, Bangladesh had been Shakib or bust for a while. Then Shakib decided to go to Dhaka and come back he decided to go back to East Bengal and come back. I don't even want to refer to them as a country anymore. They are just East Bengal.
You're taking this a little too far here.
Listen, let me, please. Man, they're fucking awful. They've been so bad in this tournament, it's not even funny. Nothing epitomizes it more than Tanzid Hassan, who has come in as this great Bangladeshi hope for being the next Tamim Iqbal. What has he managed? 150 on a featherbed against India, where he got spanked. And that's it. I think the rest of his scores, the highest score after that has been 17.
I mean, I think that's harsh to single him out specifically because.
No, I don't think I'm not saying I'm just saying that is the truth. They've been awful. The only time they won a game was when Shakib took 4.
So again, there's Shakib or bust basically, but
they're Shakib or bust, and they have not found one batsman of note post the Shakib and Mushfiq and Tamim generation.
Yeah, I mean the only century again this edition is Mahmudullah, who's again from that same generation. So yeah,
from that same generation,
the new generation of batting. To be fair, some of them have turned out into decent test players. Someone like Litton Das and even Mehdi as an all rounder. But yes, in limited overs they're really not They really haven't found anyone with that.
For a team that remember 8 years ago, they beat England and reached the quarterfinals of the World Cup.
Yeah, and they've kind of just gone backwards since then.
Gone completely backwards since then. A large part of that obviously is down to the fact that they have not tried to develop their batting, their fast bowling. The only thing that they've worried about is left arm spin, which now look, I'm just going to raise Sri Lanka as a point here. Sri Lanka had a history of, okay, decent cricketers, nothing fancy, but when they won the World Cup, they had a style of play, right? They had a style of play, they had the personnel to pull off that style of play, and they had a very decent bowling attack, right? Which is reliant on spin, yes, but two very different spinners if you look at that 2016.
I mean, also, I think they had, with people like Ravinda and Arjuna, they had good players. I wouldn't say they were like decent, but nothing special.
You're trying to tell me that one minute. You're trying to tell me that Mushfiqur Rahim and Shakib Al Hasan aren't decent players? This is bearing in mind, bearing in mind everything you said on the last episode about it.
I stand by everything I've said about Shakib as an all-time great all-rounder. I'm just saying, like, when you're saying, oh, Sri Lanka had a history of decent but not special players, but like, no, this is a team like Aravinda is one of Sri Lanka's all-time greats. So is Arjuna. You're talking about a team that had Murli. Then you go down the line, you have people like Sangakkara and Jayawardene come in. Like, those are. I think that characterization of Sri Lanka is unfair. They've always had really good players.
Let me give you a small stat. Sri Lanka became a test playing nation in 1982. They won a World Cup in 1996. They had, and still do, by the way, have a population of 60 million people. Can you take a wild guess what Bangladesh's population is?
But this just feels like an irrelevant conversation.
Let me finish. No, 1 minute. Just give me a figure and I'll tell you what point I'm getting at.
I don't know the number. I don't know Bangladesh's population. I know it's a lot higher than Sri Lanka's. I just don't think that's got any relevance in this conversation.
No. I'll tell you the relevance. There were 100 million people more. 100 million more opportunities to find cricketers good enough to do something. Also, I agree. I don't want to get into the whole big three conversation, but they could do better than this.
They can absolutely do better than this.
The point is, I'm not expecting them. We have to be realistic. I'm not expecting them to win the World Cup. Also, remember, Sri Lanka did it in 14 years. Bangladesh have been a test playing team for 23.
I mean, how long did it take India from the time they got test status to winning a World Cup? I don't like.
To be fair, the World Cup didn't exist for very long when India did win it. It was only the third edition. So, and also that's a separate story because I was doing a deep dive with Ian about the world's we were doing a sort of World 11 based on the best people. So basically, a World 11 of.
Just call it a World Cup 11. That's what it was.
A World Cup 11 of winning World Cup players. People that had won the World Cup as players, not teams. Right? And here's the funny thing. Out of that 1983 team, forget honorable mentions. There was not one that even, other than Kapil Dev, there was not one player that even found a way to be mentioned. They were that crap. And they still won a World Cup.
I mean, I think I would like to have been part of this conversation because I think someone like Amarnath, for example, should definitely be mentioned.
We'll get that. We're being sidetracked.
We're being sidetracked. I think the argument the comparison you're trying to draw to Sri Lanka, I don't think really holds because whether it's the population or the talent or whatever, the point is Sri Lanka's had really good teams in the past. And even in the short period as between test status and winning the World Cup, they had as a test team they also pulled off some really good results. I think look at that separately. That's happened separately.
Hang on. Till 1971, Bangladesh had representation in the Pakistani cricket team. Simple as that. So they have.
Okay, this is still. I still don't get your point. Is very like okay. That's still not representative of only Bangladesh and all of Bangladesh.
I agree. Okay, let's just move on from this. This
How,
is going on. This is going on in circles
how,
as well.
yeah,
The, the,
just by the way,
the,
how many East Pakistanis were have played for Pakistan? How many? Like, did they ever have 11 test class players?
I doubt. I think there was only three or four. I'm not sure on the stats
And
for
that,
that one. But yeah, there weren't
exactly.
very many like
I
that.
think, look, here's the thing. I completely agree with the fact that Bangladesh has not developed their talent properly over the last decade or so.
That's the
Uh,
point I'm trying to get at. And they have the talent.
you just Yeah, and the point is you just did a really dumb way you went about it in a really dumb way, trying to compare
Yeah,
it to
but
like Sri Lanka and whatever population, blah blah blah. Like it just
1 minute. It's Bangladesh. Is there a smart way of doing it?
yes, you started off smart. You pointed out stats and you pointed out and we talked about they're not developing how to play against Spain and all of that. All of that was smart analysis, and then you decided to go off on some sociological tangent for God knows what reason.
Okay, coming back to the actual serious perspective of this. The point here is that Bangladesh are not just poor. They are piss poor in ODI cricket. Like it takes some level of crap to be worse than the Netherlands, who are not even a fucking test playing nation.
I mean, here's the thing, yeah, not that you're right. It does take some of them to be that much worse than Netherlands on the day.
Yeah,
I think a lot of
yeah.
the ODI, so a lot of these teams that are ODI specialists, almost limited over specialists, they get a lot of cricket in, and that puts them in good stead. Whereas Bangladesh, because here's the thing, Bangladesh aren't playing the other non-test playing nations, right? Like Netherlands isn't playing quality opposition, but they're still getting their games against, say, a Kenya or a Scotland or whatever, and it's not some huge volume. But
1 minute, Bangladesh are playing people like the West Indies, Zimbabwe, Ireland. It's not like they're not playing test playing nations. They're playing
no, I'm not saying
Afghanistan.
whether they're I'm
And
just
bear
saying
in
that.
mind, you compare. Okay, fine. Forget Sri Lanka. Compare Afghanistan and Bangladesh in this World Cup. They are poles apart, and I mean poles apart. That Afghan team
No,
has it's not overachieved. Don't get me wrong. They have not overachieved. They are doing exactly. They're getting exactly what they deserve. That's how good they are.
hang on. I'm just doing a very quick stat check to back up my point. If the stats don't back up my point, then I'll stop. Never mind. The stats don't back up my point. Let's go on.
No, now I want to know what your fucking point was.
I was trying to say that Netherlands have actually played a lot more, or actually play a decent volume of overall cricket, but Bangladesh has still played more ODIs in the last 2 years. So
Amazing. Wow. You know who we need? We need Chopta Chudini. Anyways, um, they've been trashed. They're probably, and I know how bad England have been, and we're surprised by that. I am not surprised by how bad Bangladesh have been at all.
no, I mean, I expected them to do a little better than this. Like, I would have expected them to beat the Netherlands. I would have expected them to beat Afghanistan. I would have expected them to be a little bit more competitive against the other teams. So by that token, I'm still hoping again. The goal here is to get Afghanistan into the semifinals, which apart from an England win against Australia, would also probably need a Bangladesh win against Australia. So I'm still hoping for that. I'm hoping for one rousing performance.
Seems unlikely. Anyway, moving on.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've shat on England, we've shat on Bangladesh. There's only one team left to shit on.
No. Okay. So we can't even go on about them without discussing the controversy that's occurred. By the way, Inzamam ul Haq has apparently quit as chief selector because he apparently had a conflict of interest because he represents the same company that represents all of all of Pakistan's top talent.
Oh,
That's today's news, by the way.
so that's it's like with Eric Ten Hag and his talent agency representing all the players he wants to sign.
Yeah, okay, however that works. Anyway, let's not talk about United. It's depressing. Anyway, Pakistan. That game against South Africa was, I have to say, as good as I thought the New Zealand Australia game was. Man, that was such a fucking wild ride, and it was so
Oh yeah,
typical
I
of
think
both
the
sides.
Pakistan South Africa game was a better game. And
Yeah, I thought
yeah,
it was a better game. I thought I always find this with ODIs where I think that if it's a 250/270 kind of score, those produce the best cricket games because we
Samit
have a
Bal has
bit of.
actually Samit Bal has actually put an article out in Cricket for just saying exactly this. And actually the stats back it up also. You get more close games in that, like when there's a team chasing that amount of runs.
But also, I think it's because it's just you get a bit of everything where you got South Africa trying to just blitz it in the middle, and then that didn't work, and then suddenly they're like, oh, we're ahead of the rate, but we're losing wickets, and then everything has to slow down. And then it becomes like a bit of a test match where Pakistan are trying to attack. But I have to say, Babar Azam has got to be one of the worst captains I've ever seen in my life.
There's been a lot of that going around right now.
But I have to say, and I made this prediction at the start of the tournament. I know it's not been on air, but I did make this prediction, and you'll back me up on this. But I did say Babar's going to have a tough tournament because I don't think he's as good as he's made out to be, and that so far has been proven because he's got a couple of 50s and he's just not gone on. And they're over reliant on Rizwan. Iftikhar is the only properly aggressive batsman they have. The spinners have been awful. Harris Rauf, as good as he is, has been leaking runs left, right, and center. And Shaheen still hasn't fully recovered from an injury. And the funny thing was, the bright spark in that game was Mohammad Wasim Jr., who cramped up when he bowled 7 overs. So he clearly wasn't fit enough. So, if so facto, basically Pakistan need to eat less biryani.
Listen, just as a public service announcement, I want to make it clear that no one should ever have to eat less biryani.
I know, but but there was
Let people eat. Let whoever eat however much biryani they want. I don't care if you're in the middle of a high performance sporting event.
there, there, there
Please.
was there was a tweet from earlier in the tournament where you know how Pakistan had the lowest number of sixes hit in the power play. I think
Yes,
till Shafiq hit one in the South Africa game, I don't think they'd hit a six in the
they
power play
hadn't hit.
before.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
it was something like 14 games.
Well, I mean, this has been even when they were a supposedly good T20 side in the last couple of years. We this was the weakness that everyone pointed out. Is like, okay, they can accumulate, but can they really accelerate? Or can the top order? It's not even can they accelerate at the end. Will the top order end up wasting too many deliveries before the acceleration can happen? And that's a weakness in even in Rizwan's game, and he's their their gun batsman for both formats. Um, yeah, they just haven't. I think their template for ODI batting just is kind of getting shown up here.
I actually, you know what? I have a lot of sympathy for Rizwan because he doesn't really have much support in that. Even Babar doesn't score quickly enough for him.
No, I agree with you, but I think overall, and this is why when we talk about Babar's captaincy, for example, like the decision to send Iftikhar up the order against South Africa, it's turned out to be a really bad decision because obviously now you're stuck with if it doesn't come off, you're stuck with a lot of bowlers trying to make up the runs at the end of the innings, and it didn't work out. They probably could have gotten 10, 15 more runs had Iftikhar been around to marshal that day. But it's addressing the problem we're talking about, right? Like they don't get enough hitting up the order, so they send their
No,
hitters slightly higher.
1 minute. All that aside, they got bowled out in 47 overs. They had 2.5 overs left to play in that game. They could have easily batted it out and gotten on the 15 runs. Even
Yes,
sensibly, they didn't
but
need to do that. I mean,
but
I
who?
get
But
the point. I get the point
but
that everybody's trying to make.
the point is who are you relying on at the end of that day to bat? Like you saw India against England, and like okay, they just about eked out. Thanks to Bumrah and Kuldeep, just about eked it out to the last to the
But
end of the
that
innings. But
But that's exactly my point. Now, I'm not okay. If England had been any better, that might have been a close game. Let's be honest. But let's get to the
yeah,
point here. So the simple fact of the matter is, whatever said and done, India batted out the 50 overs. They may
yeah, but
not
it's
have got.
also I think we're comparing like in Bumrah not getting out or Kuldeep not getting out in within their first 10 deliveries. It's kind of like a freakish thing to happen, right? It's not something you rely on. And we got just it's all right. It's not luck, but sports has variance. Things happen that aren't supposed to happen or you don't expect to happen. We got positive variance with Bumrah and Kuldeep batting out a good 3 overs at the end or 4 overs at the
And
end of
I
that
mean,
innings.
negative variance is England. You could that's just a direct correlation.
Exactly, but and so the fact that the last 3 4 batters for Pakistan couldn't make it till the 50th over. I mean, yes, you say, hey, instead of Shaheen, who's known for some a little bit of lower order hitting, if he sticks around, maybe they get 10 15 more runs. But that's not his job. And you
No,
also
no,
like why are you
I
relying
agree it's
on
not his job. I agree it's not his job. And also, cricket's one of those rare sports where you have people trying to do a skill that they're terrible at.
yeah, exactly. So I I think like I said, all that matters is for the captaincy decision there was Babar sending Iftikhar up the order. If it comes off, they don't get 15 extra runs, they get 30 extra runs, and they probably win that game. So it's more like, and we're sitting here at the end of the game saying, oh, it's a result based analysis rather than a process based analysis, right? And I don't think the process there was wrong. When we had Babar's captaincy in terms of like not having a slip for his bowlers at the end, for his spin bowlers at the
I
end,
was
all of that
more
stuff,
I
yeah.
was I was I was more appalled by that and the fact that in that situation he decided instead of bowling Osama Mir, who'd been pretty decent, to give it to Nawaz.
Yeah, so the bowling changes, the fielding placements, all of that, I will, yeah. But I think some of
I
the
mean
batting
that's just
strategies, you're just
no
hampered by
no
the quality of the players.
I agree, but when you're in a situation where you're basically a half an inch DRS call away from winning the game. And then you decide to take the lowest possible percentage bet.
Yeah, those decisions are inexplicable. Like it's just,
Exactly. I mean,
and
that was appalling, not having a slip
do
when
you want to cut in that rant or not?
it's too long. It's just too long. It's too long. You need to give it the cliff notes. I mean, those two went after Rizwan. I have no idea why.
No,
And and
even the one with where they were going on about Baba's captaincy.
oh my god, that was hilarious. But no, as somebody very rightly said on Twitter, forget about anything else. I think everybody in India should just learn Hindi/Urdu simply to listen to Pakistani cricket Twitter.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. The clips you get from Pakistani talk shows. Forget even the talk shows. The talk shows are hilarious, but even just people tweeting, it's so funny.
It's hilarious.
Pakistan cricket fans are hilarious.
Pakistan cricket fans have just decided that. And I remember after the last World Cup again, the game against India where they got battered. Everyone was moaning about their diet and how Sarfraz was an idiot and this and that. Nothing has
So we
compared
just,
to this. That
it
was
is always
one
like okay,
day.
so we just all that's happened is that we've come to the same point 4 years later.
Yeah, but the funny bit was that was one day. And they went quiet after that game was done. You know, they had that one day where everybody went apeshit, and there was that whatever hands on hips Sareem Akhtar meme. Shout out to him, by the way. Um, and this time it's like it is literally the whole tournament, and also nothing sums up Pakistani fielding more than that Ramiz Raja comment from. Uh, I don't think it was the game against South Africa. It was the one before that against Afghanistan, where he literally says Imamul Haq is fielding at short cover or extra cover. And he said, Izwamul Haq has said, sorry, Izwan, no, Ramiz Raja said this on air. He has said that Imamul Haq is a specialist in diving over the ball.
Oof.
Anyway, that's the last we're going to have on Pakistan. That tournament's practically done.
Yeah, no, I mean, the funniest, funniest and dumbest thing about this 10-team format is that, technically speaking, no team, even now, even England is not mathematically eliminated. I think Bangladesh might be the only team that's actually officially out of it. Um, but yeah, we don't see Pakistan making it.
Okay, we have only two more things to talk about. We'll just breeze through them. So we have number one, we have obviously that crazy game between Australia and New Zealand. I mean,
Australia,
bro,
yeah.
wow, what was that? Um, I mean, Travis had coming back weighing 100. That wasn't surprising, but dude, Rachin Ravindra is an absolute star.
Yeah, he's actually living. Can you imagine being named after two of the greatest cricketers of all time, and at the age of 22 or however old Rachin Ravindra is, he's actually almost kind of living up to it so far.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. What a player, and what a prospect for New Zealand. I mean, listen, for somebody who have been constantly punching above their weight, this is a fabulous cricket team, an
Yeah.
absolutely fabulous cricket team.
Well, I mean, you said it last time, right? It's like they're not punching above their weight. They're like, this is their weight class
No,
now.
this is
Yeah.
their weight class now. They're a great team, and I mean, yeah, they're just fantastic. Honestly, just fantastic. And that game was proof of how good it could be in Australia. I mean, Australia won, but they by as Mark Nicholas said on commentary, by the narrowest of margins, not the barest.
It's
So that was telling.
it was a strange kind of game as well because it was because the way Australia started, the way Warner and Travis Head started, and Travis Head the way he went on by the first ever World Cup game scores that crazy of a century. The way they started, they probably could have gotten to like 430, 440, something like that. They easily passed 400. New Zealand pulled it back in the middle by a lot. And then somehow Pat Cummins takes them to their final score. It's actually kind of ironic. The two batters who brought New Zealand closest are also probably the two players responsible for Australia scoring that many runs at the end. Because it was because Josh
It was
Inglis
Jimmy,
Josh Inglis hit Josh Inglis hit a ball out of off of Neesham's bowling
and
and
Nisham,
it was an
that
absolute
one went for 26,
dolly.
didn't it? Yeah,
That over went for 26, and it started off with Ravinder dropping a dolly that
Dolly.
let Cummins come on strike. That let Cummins come on strike when it would have been Stark otherwise, because English would have been out. And then Cummins would hit the rest of that over for like 20 runs or whatever. And that ended up making the difference.
But New Zealand, finally got it right because I think we were alluding to this on the last part as well that Chapman was just not doing enough with that number 7 slot.
Yeah.
And they swapped him out. They brought in Jimmy Neesham, and what a difference he's made.
Yeah. I mean, instantly, his first over, he got the wicket of, who did he get? Now I'm forgetting. But I know it was an important wicket. I'm just forgetting who he got. Oh, it was Maxwell, I think.
Yeah, it
Um,
was Maxwell. Yeah,
yeah. And,
and then
obviously his
obviously
second
with the
over
bat, yeah,
with the bat, like he's come like within inches on the bat of if he timed that full toss with Stark instead of getting
oh man,
run out of it.
run
He
out.
he's
Yeah,
he's the game.
yeah. Um, man. Those are two guaranteed semi-finalists for me. I don't see
You know
England beating Australia.
the funniest thing is if New Zealand would have won that game, Afghanistan and Australia would be level on points right now.
That would have been wild.
Yeah.
But okay, so that was that game, and then we have to talk about tonight. Unfortunately for me, I've been out, so I haven't seen a ball of it. But have you?
The Afghanistan Sri Lanka game.
Yeah.
I have not, but I also because the game ended before I even woke up. So literally, I've woken up at 9 o'clock and I've looked at the score. It's like, oh, okay, they need 10 runs in like 5 overs or whatever it was. I'm like, okay, this game is over.
So they had. I did check the scorecards. Faruqi picked up 4 today, which was a surprise.
And it's a big, I mean, good selection there, right? Because he came in for this game in place of Noor Ahmed. Again, they made Afghanistan's strength is their spin bowling, but they just took the call. Okay, we're taking out one of our spinners, and we have to get Faruqi in. Pays off immediately.
We did discuss this earlier. It was they've got pretty much every other base covered, but can their fast bowlers do it? Proof.
Yeah, and you know, Pune is one of the better pitches to like. It's not
For seam
easy
bowling.
to just go. Yeah, it is also just not easy to go all guns blazing for the batting. So just overall though, it's like they cruised that race. They just weren't troubled at all, and I think that's what it's just. They've leveled up a little bit in this tournament as a team, just the way they've batted. And this is after Gurbaz getting out in the first over, by the way.
Oh
Even
yeah, no,
after that,
they're a good enough team, man. Like there's no question about it. They're an absolutely
yeah,
good enough team. They've got the best spin attack in the world. Um, and yeah,
whole
I mean that's
whole
what it
statement,
is.
whole statement. To take as it
Well, it's not according to me. It's according to Shahid.
is.
But yeah, uh, that's Afghanistan for you.
Have the Netherlands. I'm just going through the remaining games here. They've got the Netherlands next, which you expect them to win. Australia, you don't expect them to win, but if they pull off a result there, then they they're in with a serious shot at making the semifinals. They're 2 points behind Australia, and there's a big gap in the net run rate because Australia obviously have just had had three straight totals of 350 plus. So they've just been beasting it.
I mean, and then
And
the
Afghanistan.
net run. No, but also Australia's net run is only going to get better because they're playing England.
No, here's the thing: we are hoping that England wins. It's one of those rare occasions. It's one of those rare occasions where we're hoping England wins.
Yeah, okay. I mean, be interesting to see.
It's going to be tough because Afghanistan's last two games are Australia and South Africa. You don't expect them to win either.
Also, quick before we move on to the awards, obviously, quick word on the Netherlands.
I mean, 2 wins in the tournament was two more than I would have expected them to get. So, and they've been competitive in other games. They were competitive against Pakistan. They were competitive against Sri Lanka.
No, they've been fabulous. Wins over Bangladesh, wins over South Africa. You know what? You know what would be the real feather in the cherry for them? Feather in the cap, feather, cherry on the cake, all of that jazz.
Good job. Good job getting your idioms.
I've had a lot to drink.
Definitely.
I needed some help with that. Um, uh, what happens if they turn over England?
That that would be quite funny.
That would be hilarious, wouldn't it? And what a fall from grace that would be. Right.
Do you
On
want?
that
Do you
very
want? Do I?
happy.
Can I one? This is not related to Bangladesh or sorry to New Zealand or Netherlands or Afghanistan or whatever. But I've just seen a tweet come up about Pakistan's qualification scenario and the results they need. Do you
Oh
want to
God.
know? Do you want to know what they need? Okay, so they need to win all three of their games, Bangladesh, New Zealand, and England. They need England, Afghanistan, and Bangladesh all to beat Australia. Probably not happening, but let's for the sake of it, just continuing. They need New Zealand to beat Sri Lanka, probably would happen. They need India to beat the Netherlands, again, probably happening. They need South Africa and Sri Lanka to both beat Afghanistan, which is not happening anymore. Um, and they need one of India or Bangladesh to beat Sri Lanka.
Yeah, I don't see any of that happening. But anyway, um, I don't think that order is going to happen. Also, before again, last thing before we move on, we haven't spoken about them, but as bad as England were, I thought India were great. I mean, they were fantastic with the ball. Everybody chimed in. The big news, of course, is that Hardik Pandya is going to be missing until the semi-final.
Because it changes the team balance by a lot. And we saw it in this game. That 230 could have easily been 250, 270. Not that it ended up mattering because England are so bad, but yeah.
Yeah, but also difficult conditions. I thought they did pretty well until. I mean, there was some seriously dumb shots in there. I mean, KL Rahul, um, Shreyas Iyer, even Kohli's was a bit of a silly one.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note this is the first time we were batting first the entire tournament.
Yeah,
And I think the idea was probably just to impose themselves a bit, see, aim for 300, which on that 300 on that pitch again. As so happened, 230 on that pitch was the winning score. But 300 on that pitch, I think the par score there was about 250, 270. So 300 is like your guaranteed win. They were aiming for that. People just fell short with some really bad batting. It was just bad selection of shots. But I don't mind them going for it. I think
No,
I want to
but
see them.
you also
First and
I think this tournament is going to come down to this because you did see some adaptability from them, where once the couple of wickets went, Rohit Sharma changed gears, and he changed gears down, which impressed me.
yeah. Well, it's how he used to bat before this latest cycle of ODIs, right? Where he's in the last couple of years where he's really ramped up his early innings hitting. But if you remember, like, this is what Rohit Sharma always used to do. He used to let Shikhar take on the attack early on, and not that Shikhar was the same level as what Rohit's doing now, but Shikhar used to be a lot more aggressive, and then Rohit would settle in and then come in and start hitting later. So it's part of his game.
Yeah, I mean,
We've also seen him do it in Test cricket, where when a lot of the other players are struggling, and he just survives and then pulls out great innings.
No, I know, but I think it was great game awareness, and I think this is where you'll see differences between the top three, where the captains can switch down gears or switch up gears depending on what the situation is. Somebody like Tom Latham as well can change to a more attacking sort of vibe, and Rohit did it brilliantly. I thought.
Yeah.
To be honest, the top 3 or 4, the captaincy's been fantastic, and that's been one of the big differences between the rest of everybody else. Even Bavuma the other night was great against Pakistan.
Bavuma was great. Markram was vice captain on that side. He also showed that kind of being able to change gears, though he should have stuck around to the end and really made that chase a lot more simpler than it was. But yeah.
I mean, in his case, I think that shot was somewhat almost justified, but
yeah. Again, I think I've just had this change now where I just don't criticize attacking shots anymore. If you're in ODIs and in T20s especially, like if you see a ball that you can hit and you get out trying to hit it, I'm fine with that. Like match situation, wickets in hand, blah blah blah. Look, runs and boundaries especially are the premium here. If you see a chance and you're backing yourself to get it, if it's just a matter of you executed a shot poorly, that I don't blame you for that.
I think it goes back to my point again about the stat that we brought up about Bangladesh and the boundary percentages and how low they were, and also the non-boundary strike rate, which was, we've all seen that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's. I think this tournament is one where the adaptable teams will do better, and the 3 teams that are there, leaving out South Africa, I think the 3 teams that are, in the top 4, India, Australia, and New Zealand, all have different gears to their batting, where they've got proper batsmen in the middle. Remember, South Africa is the only one that I don't think can change gears as easily. Although Markram did show he could do it, but he seemed to be the only one. Whereas India, New Zealand, and Australia all have players that can go up and down the gears. Kohli can go down gears. Rahul can go down gears. Latham and Mitchell can both go down gears. And Australia have Labuschagne and Smith. So it shows you that there is still a place for traditional batsmen in one-day cricket.
Yeah, and again, we touched on this last time. Like this idea that ODI is just being an extension of T20s. It's just every single time we get into a tournament like this. Yeah, it's being proven. You'll get your 400s or sometime a team threatening 500. You'll get those matches occasionally, but quite often you just need someone to get your 100 off of 110 balls rather than 100 off of 40.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. I think that's about all we have. Any changes to your semi-final predictions?
If my semi-final predictions were India, New Zealand, South Africa, and Australia, then no. I'm just trying to remember, because I remember talking before the tournament. I said England, but clearly that's what happened.
Yeah, I said England as well, and wow, that's been a surprise. But anyway,
yeah,
I think we're going to stick to those 4 for now. On that very happy.
But we're hoping for Afghanistan. We are hoping for the. We are
We're
hoping for the
hoping
miracle.
we're hoping for Afghanistan. We're hoping for the greatest underdog story ever. Um, there was one very politically incorrect comment I saw, but I don't think I should put it out into the universe.
Don't. Good. Good job.
Let's not. It
You're
obviously
learning.
it obviously involves the Taliban, so I'm not going there.
Okay, this is good. You have developed more in the last few years than Bangladesh cricket has. Good job.
Listen, I think my cricket has developed more since I've turned 30 than Bangladesh cricket has in the last 15 years. That on that very happy note, it is now time to swing into my favorite segment of the evening. What is it? What is it? What is it? It is the No Balls Cricket Awards. Take it away.
The one I think we were just discussing this. I'm not sure that we have like some specific award to give out to, but the one I would really want to give a shout out to the PCB, the Pakistan Cricket Board, which in the middle of this tournament decided it needed to release a statement throwing Babar and Inzamam under the bus. It's like just like
Pakistani cricket, man, the gift that keeps on giving.
But there's an enough going on the pitch or within the setup where like, they're getting the tactics wrong and players aren't performing up to that. Whatever. Pakistan's cricket board deciding it needs to put out a statement saying, oh, please cheer for the team, but also, the captain isn't doing good. Captain and selector got their team, they wanted. So if you don't want to cheer for the team and want to blame anyone, don't blame us, blame them.
Yaar, ek minute, yaar. I have to go back to that incredible tweet where they just
While you do that, it's funny because then Mickey Arthur has come out, literally publicly saying after that statement has come out, like, yeah, Pakistan, obviously they're just trying to cover their asses. Can you imagine he's the coach of the Pakistan team and he's saying this about his board publicly? He's like, oh, they're gonna blame Babar, they're gonna blame us because they just want to cover their asses.
1 minute. I actually have a tweet of the week that this is an award that I kind of want to give.
Okay, go for it.
Just give me a hot second while it loads. I found it. I'm pretty sure I've sent it to you. I don't think you've seen it just yet.
All right. Well, now I'll see it now.
You'll see it now. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here we go.
Oh man. Okay. I'm just gonna read this out just for our audio listeners, but
Audio listeners. You can't even. You can't even. Pushkar, you win, bro. You win. You just win.
okay.
Right.
Let me just try
Oh,
getting
are you actually gonna? You able to read this out? Really? Go for it.
I'm trying to get okay. We should do one of those. Have you seen those comedy skits where like they try telling really dumb jokes to make the other person laugh, and if you laugh, you have to drink or something. We should do that once.
Next time. Also, by the way, if we ever do that, we're getting hammered.
Yeah, you and I laugh way too easily.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, please read this out for the audio.
Okay. All right. All right. So this tweet says, Shami's team position is such that he can even make Karan Johar straight.
Oh dear God. Oh my
Oh
God.
man.
Okay, and just how we started, can we end with a different let's end with a different a set for us,
Oh, let's get the we. No, we'll just do it now. We'll do a different one. We'll say BCCI rigged DRS. That is the actual excuse.
What about media disrespected our request for protein-rich food?
They were in Hyderabad. I'm sure they got some good biryani, regardless of whatever the media did.
I know, but there was a comment from earlier in the World Cup where Imam says that he said that we don't hit enough sixes because we aren't getting enough protein. And there was a dude on Twitter that goes, and in his own words, Abhi chutiye, your fucking 40 kilo overweight uncle used to hit sixes for fun. Why can't you hit sixes? So, if so facto, no balls cricket award for the week, Pakistan cricket.
Meanwhile, an update on our favorite Axel award, which is the Indian Team Fielding Award. They're giving one out after every game, as we mentioned. Obviously, fielding encompasses ground fielding as well. It's not just for like taking great catches, blah blah blah. But so in the England innings, out of the 10 wickets, 8 were LBW or bowled. And the other 2 were caught KL Rahul and stumped KL. So any guesses who won the fielding award in that game?
KL Rahul.
Ding ding ding! You're a winner.
Wow,
KL, yes. And they literally, by the way, go see the Indian cricket teams like tweet or go on their BCCI website. Actually, don't go on the BCCI website. Fuck the BCCI. But
listen, more a Chota Bhai won't let us live.
But they've literally done a full-on light show to reveal that KL Rahul has won this award. It is like the most overkill thing of overkill things.
No, the most overkill thing was that fucking fireworks display after they picked up the last wicket. But anyway.
No, but that's fireworks the moment India win I think there's probably the fireworks at the end of every game regardless. But there's like drone light show that they've done just to spell out the name KL Rahul to reveal the fielding award. Oh man, they're taking this thing seriously.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And also we have a shithousery award.
Tell us what's happening with your bet with Ian.
This is kind of involved in the bet. So Kohli has decided that he, in the Lucknow game against England, would not just troll me, but he would troll the whole world. Because not only did he get out for a duck, he then went and dropped Johnny Bairstow. It didn't matter because Bairstow got out 2 balls later. But still, he dropped Johnny Bairstow. Simple catch as well, it slipped. Burst through his fingers, dropped it, this, that. Anyway, now I only have the game against South Africa where he has to score 100 or else I have to say some dumb shit. So let's not go there.
Well, I guess for you saying dumb shit is just like talking. So.
You know, for once I actually pulled out stats. You were impressed.
This is true. This is true.
On that very happy note, it is time to end. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to do the ending now because we haven't done one in a while. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, say cheese, hit the bell icon, and slap Aditya Devrat while you're at it. Good night.
See you guys.
It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't know Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't know Gavaskar at all.